Hi, it's Ricky of Moshville Times here once again. Now, tonight I'm delighted to be joined by Birmingham-based electronic-core metalcore band Nebula State. That wasn't easy to say, by the way. But can I just say, tonight we've got vocalist River, we've got the drummer Will, and we've got lead guitarist Hayden. Now, bassist Kyle may join in later on, but guitarist vocalist Ethan is too camera shy to come on, so we'll just end up taking the mickey out of him anyway. So, how are you guys doing? I take it, have you been lucky enough to escape all this COVID shite and you haven't had it or anything?
Oh, I've had it, but we're well clear of it.
I've been quite lucky. I didn't catch it the entire time. I don't know how, but
I'm the same. Touch hairy wood. I haven't had it either, you know. But who knows? But I'm glad it's all over-ish. But it's still out there. But we're not here to talk about COVID and all the rest of it. But already this year, Nebula State have released a single, namely Murmur. So how did it finally feel to get the song out there for the masses to hear?
Absolutely excellent, because we've been sat on stuff for so long. It was pending the video, and it was just, can we get a location? But honestly, the international response we've had has just been amazing. So thank you everyone that's checked it out so far.
Yeah, I've seen numerous reaction videos, like US as well. I just actually watched that one there. But so you're saying then, how old is actually Murmur? How old of a song is Murmur actually?
It kind of came out of nowhere. It's not an old song. With the new upcoming EP, we do have tracks that are way older than Murmur. It was one of the songs that Ethan and River just penned, recorded the demo, and then just sent, and we just went with it. Really, we all enjoyed it that much. Yeah. So how cool was it to like actually get together as a band and get the video done? And you're like, they must have looked at one another and went, "Who are you again? What instrument is it you play?" After especially Will. We looked at him and was like, "Hang on, you're not our drummer. What are you doing here?"
What was that you were saying, River?
I said they're all still ugly, so
yeah.
Take after you, bro.
This isn't going to be a straightforward interview, I know this. So for those that have heard Murmur then, how would you say it compares to your debut single, Apocalypse? And do you think you've found the sound that you've been looking for with your latest single?
We've definitely evolved since Apocalypse, I feel. I do think that was a mixture of being stuck in lockdown, not really knowing what to do, and just a lot more of our influences coming out, because when I joined Nebula State, Apocalypse was already written and I liked it, but as soon as we all started getting together and writing and jamming a lot more, I think a lot more of our darker influences came out. I'm into a lot more gothic stuff like Cradle of Filth and like The Cure, Deer on Grey. River's the same as well, him. I do feel a lot more of that came out as opposed to Apocalypse, which was still like our original sound, just a bit more bigger.
Yeah. Murmur's about killing God, killing your God. So it's very dark. It was unleashing that rage that built up over COVID. It was just, can I swear?
Of course you can. Just don't say see you next Tuesday. Don't say that word.
No. We were like, fuck this, we're angry. Let's show everyone what we got. We've been sitting on our asses for 2 years. Let's have it proper. It was great.
So you guys that have got the instruments then, because you couldn't get into rehearsal space and all the rest of it, were you actually getting sick of your guitars and all the rest? Did you just say, I just want away from instrument just now? Or did you find that now that I've got the time, I can actually spend so much time writing new stuff?
It definitely helped being stuck in lockdown for me. It didn't make me sick of it. It just made me write more. I tried to encourage my friends who are in other bands who they were defeated by the lockdown. I know a lot of people that wanted to give up music just because they couldn't get out. I just had to tell them, look, it's not over yet. Just keep writing. You never know what you're going to come out with. During lockdown, we did have a few opportunities to perform, but it was more of a case of, play in a venue but on live stream and then leave, and then the other band comes, and it was like a mini festival. But we got together and we thought it's just a bit too risky, because they were giving away the findings then and stuff like that, and some of us didn't have jobs at the time. We thought, no, it's just not worth it. So during lockdown, we mainly focused on just pushing Apocalypse while it was out, when it just came out, and just write and see what we could come out with. And I do think that was the case of Murmur coming out just pent up anger from the lockdown.
Cool. Thank you.
2 years old by the time we got out of lockdown almost. It was like all the opportunities we got on that release we couldn't do because the world stopped. So we lost a lot of the momentum, and with Murmur, we're going to really try and bring it back with this new EP.
Well, like you say, you're certainly getting the good reviews for the single that I've seen anyway. I've not seen a bad review for it yet, so fair play to you. But same with you, Will, then obviously with you being a drummer, I take it you don't have a full piece drum kit in your living room or anything like that. So how did you keep practicing? Did you get the kitchen pots and pans out, or?
No, between me legs at the moment, if I'm allowed to talk about that.
Are we going there? Are we going there?
About to charge it.
I've got a little practice pad and stuff straight away. So I've got my computer set up so I can just hammer away every now and then, which I don't do too often because, I've got little ones running around. So, I start drumming and next thing I know, I've got a, Daddy, can I play? I'm like, okay, I'm not playing today then. So, but then luckily with a lockup, I was able to go in there by myself. So because I'm not around anyone, it's just me and my drum kit, so I could go in there when it was kind of eased off a little bit, so it's kind of still keeping a bit sane doing that stuff.
Okay, your aggression out, yeah. But also with the single Murmur, you got Jimmy Strimmel of the Swedish band Vindicta. The huge thing with that though is from what I found is it's been like 10 years since he's done like clean singing. And I was very impressed with his clean singing. So did he jump at the chance to do this because it gave him a personal challenge as well, because you wanted him to do the clean singing?
I think so. Jimmy's been a good friend of mine for the last 3-4 years, and it was just, let's do something together. I mean, off topic, me, Jimmy, and Ethan are going to be starting a project, hopefully. So that's going to be coming out. But Jimmy's brilliant, man. It was like, we want you to sing because we've not heard you sing since the Dead by April days. Would you be up for it? And he was well up for it. He was really shy, but as you heard, he smashed it.
Yeah. Jimmy lost a lot of confidence after he left Dead by April because a lot of things happened, but I don't think he intended to quit singing. I think he just got interested in different genres, but it was a big deal for us to get Jimmy singing on it because without Dead by April, without that first Dead by April album that he sung on a lot, there would be no Nebula State. Fact, it's a big inspiration of ours. So we wanted the best of Jimmy. We loved his singing, we love his screaming, and it got to the point, which I never thought I would say, that he's not even like an idol of ours anymore. He's just a really close mate of ours. And that's been the biggest reward for us that we're grateful for. He's just so close with us now, especially with Ethan. Him and Ethan talk every day.
Yeah. You must have been gobsmacked when you got the results back through.
Understatement. Complete understatement.
Yeah. No, that's excellent. But you're also, I know that you're going to be looking to do a new EP. I think you've entitled it The Invasion. Is that correct?
That's right.
Yeah. So how far in the process are you? Is Murmur going to be on it as well? And what else can you tell us about the EP that's going to be coming out?
Well, so far it's 7 tracks, I think. Correct me if I'm mistaken, River. 6 or 7.
I was going to say, if it's 7, then are you not better just writing one more song and making an album? Or are you always focusing on an EP? Has that been a discussion within the band?
It's with this generation, it's relatively ADHD, so we might compile it as an album, but it's all going to be single releases because you get more hype these days.
Yeah, and it was always called The Invasion, even when I joined the band, and I was totally fine with it. Like, The Invasion, that sounds great, and we wanted it to be an EP, just so once we had the full stable lineup, that's when we could say, right, let's make an album instead, and then really push the boat. But we wanted to get a second EP out there just because of the length of the songs and what we have in the meantime.
Yeah.
And if we wrote more songs, I feel like we'd be keeping the EP waiting a bit more. We want to make it 110% perfect before we release it. Murmur will be on there. Apocalypse is going to be on there. And
we get a ballad as well. We do have a ballad.
Yeah, ballads. There's going to be heavy songs, singing, screaming, everything.
So has it been recorded? Is it at the mastering stage, or?
Most of it is ready to go, pending videos. I think there's just, I think Sleepless is a song I've got to record my vocals for that. I think we've got to master that and stuff, but I think it's all mainly pending videos.
The blueprints are there, the backbone's there. We just got to get the rest of the skeleton, so to speak.
Yeah.
But we're ready
to try and put my vocals on it as well. You know, I know everyone's excited to have that on there.
Oh yes, that's the best. That's the best part.
So you're looking at something maybe like late summer, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Good stuff. So where are you going to record it, or where has it been recorded? Have you done anything different to your debut EP?
Yeah, no, Ethan does it all himself. He's really improved. He's come on as a producer. He's actually available for production work now. But we did record Apocalypse with the Graves Brothers from Inner Sound Studios. They worked with like Asking Alexandria, all the big boys. And I think, which song is it we did
was
with
another
them as
tune
well?
we did.
What
It was
the song?
Eclipse,
We've done a song,
which
Eclipse,
hasn't been released yet.
that was James. Was it Mike Kingswood from Glamour of the Kill did that one actually?
Yeah. But we ran into financial difficulty, especially during the lockdown, and we decided it's probably best we don't do the rest of the. They did a fantastic job there, but it was a bit too much for us, unfortunately. And that's when Ethan's production skills started to rise a bit more, and we kept saying, "Ethan, you need to start doing more songs. You're really fucking good at it."
Yeah. Well, that's what a lot of bands are now doing. It's just they're looking at doing it in house now, but also it's been a bit of a conversation in other interviews that I've done. There's a lot of maybe more experienced bands like the album release because you've got a beginning, middle, and an end. But a lot of the younger generation saying, no, we've got to keep it out there, single every couple of months, and keep the name out there. So it's a double-edged sword as to how you play it. You've got to be careful, but you've got to market it right. And that's actually my next question. The last 18 months to 2 years, has it made you look at the more business side of the band? Like, have you guys taken on roles that you hadn't taken on before because you've had to?
Yes.
Yeah, thanks to the different responses and different accessibility. The accessibility of Murmur has been completely different to anything I've personally ever done. Yeah. So it made me look at promoting and doing things from a different perspective. We had so many, like I said, different avenues to promote the video with that I never imagined, the reaction videos. Yeah. Local band Smokeout, big shout out to them. They've been amazing promoting us. Yeah, they've been fantastic. And it was very bucket list situation for me because I didn't even know. We got the review for local band Smokeout and the singer from A Skylit Drive was on there, the original singer doing a shout out. I was just like, what the hell? That was a big deal for me. Yeah. So it's the rewards have been fantastic so far, and it has made me personally and the other band members look at different ways we can promote the video instead of just plopping it on Facebook every 5 minutes and spamming Facebook groups like I used to do. A lot of other people did as well.
Yeah, but it's dead happy, isn't it?
It's a shame that there's a lot of rewards, but unfortunately one of them isn't monetary. You just do it for the passion, don't you? Just the same as myself. You just do this for the passion. I mean, and imagine being in the band. The best thing for you guys is just being on stage and just losing your shit.
That's it. Yeah, the reward is definitely being able to do what we love. That's what I wanted to do personally. I never got into music for money. I just wanted to be able to express myself through music because it's the strongest way of doing it. There's certain things you can't say face to face, but you can put it in a song and everybody loses their mind over it.
Yeah. You can call somebody a dick in your lyrics, but they don't know who you're talking about. So
exactly, you just tell them to see if the shoe fits and leave it to it.
So I think we kind of touched on this earlier then. With the recording of the single Murmur, was there anything that you've done differently when recording Apocalypse? And will there be anything that you will do differently that you will take forward to the next recording?
So in future, I think we're going to keep it in-house because me and Ethan always have a lot of fun writing together. We always bring out the best in each other as well. It was brilliant when we recorded Apocalypse in the studio in York. I'd highly recommend them. It was more of it was a very good experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we just love working within the band because it's just our baby. Like Will did the video, it's like we've created all of this ourselves.
Good. So Will, then, is it you that's got the visual mind, the creative mind for the videos and stuff?
Yeah, I'll just show it off.
It's split. Everybody has their part to play.
There you go.
That's it. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to show it off and be like, somebody understand. Yeah. It's one of them kind of things. I went to uni and studied it for far too long. And by it, I think usually it's called digital media or creative media or something. But I like to call it dossing around. That's what you learn when you're at uni. So I thought, it'd be nice to kind of put that stuff into some use and stuff. So I've bought all the equipment, had it for a while, and then kind of not been able to do much with it. So slowly getting back into doing that stuff now. And then with the music videos and stuff, we got a few ideas, some of them in black and white, which sounds quite nice because we can make it all artsy-fartsy, and it doesn't matter if the camera's overexposed or anything because no one would notice because it's in black and white, which I haven't told them about yet. So that's
well, here's a Moshville Times exclusive. The next video is in black and white. But it speaks volumes about the band then. Because obviously if you're doing it in-house, then you're saving money and things like that. So, I mean, well, no disrespect or anything like that, you might not bring a lot to the songwriting side of things, but you're invaluable to the more visual and the creative side of things. So everybody seems to be like an integral member of the band, and that's what keeps it strong. So
yeah, they've heard my vocals as well before, and they're like,
like go back to your kit.
Yeah. I can't remember if Hayden's actually heard the song that I wrote, and I'm like, I'll send it to him later and see if he's heard it.
I'll have a blast.
Cool stuff. But that kind of leads me on to my next question as well then. With the band being fairly settled in the band members front then, so when constructing new material and with the band members having their own personal taste in music, how would you say you keep it all together? For example, when negotiating what stays in and what goes out of a song, is there somebody in the band that's always huffy? That goes in the mood if I will like that riff and goes into the corner if it's not played or used.
Yeah, me probably.
Yeah.
I'll be a bit of a wank.
Usually, well, that's the thing I liked about Nebula when I joined, was that songwriting was completely different. For most of the tracks, it's usually River and Ethan coming up with bits because Ethan deals with the electronics and the orchestral parts. And then he'll send it over to us via like Dropbox or WeTransfer or whatever. And then we'll all come up with different ideas, different bits and bobs for the song. And we all come to a collective agreement of what stays and what doesn't. I don't think any of us have ever thrown a hissy fit about what should be in and what shouldn't be in.
It normally stays in, doesn't it? It's normally pretty, what we get is decent. It's only lyric revisions maybe. Realising a breakdown, changing it.
Yeah, changing lyrics maybe. I know River wants me to do some soloing soon, so that's got to happen.
We need solos, man. We've not got a solo in a Neb song yet, so
that's the only criticism. That's the only criticism I've had from my parents. They like the music, being like, "It needs a guitar solo." I'm like, okay, I'll do it. God.
No, get it done. But Hayden, is Ethan the type of guy that would send you a riff at 4 o'clock in the morning saying this is my best riff yet, by the way?
You've nailed it, dude. You've nailed it. He's a very nocturnal person. I think River will agree with me. He's known Ethan the longest. Yeah, he will send you something at 4 in the morning. Go, look what I did. I'm just like, go to bed.
I mean, as well.
Yeah, I put my phone on Do Not Disturb every night, and then I wake up in the morning and I've got 30 messages, and I'm like, what? It was almost 5 minutes after I put Do Not Disturb on. I think I woke up the once just, and the thing saw it, and I thought, okay, it's going to be interesting.
But then if you message him at like lunch break, he won't answer.
Yeah, there's always one. But talking about yourself, River, then, with you being the vocalist of the band, or maybe the main vocalist of the band, do you take care of all the lyrics for the music, or do you welcome contributions from other members of the band as well?
I enjoy contributions from other members. Ethan wrote all of the lyrics to Murmur. Sometimes, like, Hayden will approach us with the song, I've got these lyrics, and then, because I'm quite a distinguished poet, if I do say so myself, I'll revise the lyrics and make them a bit prettier. But I do tend to write the bulk with Ethan. It's normally we'll write the music and I'll just open a Word document and I'll tap out like lyrics to a song in 5 minutes and then revise it again. But it normally just comes straight from me noggin onto the track. So
I've noticed that you've got trays behind you. Is that where you keep all your notes and your spare lyrics?
This is where I keep lizards, actually, baby lizards.
I couldn't have got that more wrong, could I? But, so yeah, are you the type of guy that keeps like notebooks and scrapbooks of just lyrics?
Since getting into my newer relationship, yes, because she's got a massive collection of stationery. She's gone, here's your lyrics book, here's this book, here's that book. So it's 20 quid whenever we go Tesco, because I didn't realize they have ranges and they bring out new ranges. So yes, now I'm a very organized man.
I'd imagine though, like when you're writing the lyrics, you're already visualizing how you're going to sing them. So if Hayden was to write a song, for example, is it sometimes difficult for him to convey how he wants you to sing it?
No, because he can. Everybody in the band can scream as well, so they will, blah, 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 and I'll go punch it up a little bit, maybe a bit lower.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're all brilliant. I can't speak highly enough of them as musicians. They can translate their ideas perfectly.
Yeah, the only song that I've written so far fully for Nebula State is one that hasn't been released called Sleepless. The only reason that was never tampered with is because it's very personal lyrically. So I think we all agreed, yeah, don't tamper with it. And yeah. I think the others enjoyed it enough anyway not to tamper with it, or it didn't need changing. So
yeah. And Will, I saw that you put your hand up there. Will, is it? I'm just the drummer. I'll just play drums.
No, it's they've heard me sing, so they don't let me sing. It's like the old joke. It's why is the PA so far away from the drummer? So we can't have a fucking microphone.
He's terrible, but we love him.
But as with every single other band, it's been a difficult 18 months to 2 years for bands not to be able to play gigs. So in that time then, I think you kind of touched on it way at the beginning. Did you think of doing like a virtual gig or something like that, or getting together and do something in the rehearsal space? Was it discussed and just dismissed it? Because I did see a few of them, and it obviously worked with some of them. It didn't work with others.
Yeah, it wasn't for us, because I like running around the stage with my top off like a maniac, man. So I can't get that energy back from, you know. I would do a recorded live stream under the right circumstances now, but it's one of those. I don't think you can really capture the magic of like the backing track and the orchestral parts and Hayden hitting me with his guitar.
No, me headbutting the microphone.
Yeah.
That happened last gig. It was so funny. They stuck the microphone stand on the floor instead of on the stage. I'm doing my normal thing. Somebody's mosh has tripped over and knocked the microphone. It's clonked me right on the head. I had a big engravement right here.
Something tells me you're an accident-prone band.
No, yeah. Usually we're all right, aren't we? To be honest.
Well, I normally almost kick the monitors off stage and trip over all the time, but
yeah,
I've not fell off the stage yet.
Yeah, the thing is that I've always implemented with music, you've got to look like you're enjoying yourself. If you're standing there I hate that. So we have to go a bit maniacal at our shows. But I don't think we're very accident prone, minus me getting headbutted with the microphone. I've not had that many on stage accidents that I can think of personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been all right.
I think this is the most animated that I get on stage. You know, that's it.
This is you in your prime, Will.
Anyway, that's it.
I once got to my own concert when I jumped into the pit. That was quite fun.
Yeah, but to be honest, lockdown was such a blur. We did interviews during lockdown. It was mainly just interviews. River did one for another American. What was her name again?
Oh, Jackie Raven from
Jackie Raven. We just focused on interviews because so many people had so many questions to ask about what have you guys been doing during lockdown? What advice can you give to other bands? And it was very good to do that, to give it advice. It helped keep us. It kept our feet on the ground, so to speak, instead of going absolutely insane, being stuck in our houses, I feel. But we tried to come up with some kind of live streaming experience that we could try and take advantage of it. But we were just too worried about getting caught by the police or getting fined. Some of us didn't have jobs at the time.
Did you have the opportunity to do it? I've seen a number of these, like in your own room. I mind you, Will, for example, you wouldn't have your drums, would you? But you could have taken the mickey and got your kitchen pots and pans out.
Yeah, just because at the time I wasn't in the band, but I did do some work for an online streaming company who the initials are BS, and that's kind of how it turned out. You know, the payment was you get there early, nothing much happens, so you start off and get a few beers, and by the time it comes to get on for the band to come on, you're operating a camera that costs too much money, and then you just enjoying it as you would do. And I think the only person getting anything out of it at that gig, like those types of gigs, was the people there at the cameraman, especially me, when I've had a few and I'm just there watching a Thin Lizzy cover band or something and I'm absolutely loving it. or something. It's like because I was in the crew of those live streaming things, it seemed a bit more like, it's just not something that I would have sat at home and watched, or especially paid for. It's like, because especially when you're charging £5, I know someone put up the argument, which was that you go out and you'd spend £5 on a burger or like £5 on a pint, but then would you really want to spend £5 on something that you could probably watch on YouTube? It's like, it's
yes and no. You want to support people, but at the same time, you might want a burger or a pint. So
yeah, and I just thought it didn't have the same atmosphere, because especially when you're there in it and you're watching the band, you know, I'm getting the atmosphere, but then the people at the audience at home aren't getting the same atmosphere, because, you know, I can be looking one way with the camera, but I can also be looking at the other way of someone else doing something. It's just, I think you can't get that across the audience at home.
I think the only one that I saw where a band played to an empty room and it worked was Ingested. But that's because they had the thousands of pounds worth of budget for it. So I had seen plenty of like underground bands trying it as well, and it just didn't come across well. So again, you've got to do everything you can to keep the band name out there. And it was just another opportunity to do so, but sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't.
The only thing I really did during lockdown was I did a few live streams on Facebook. Just whenever Apocalypse hit like a certain amount of views, I'd do a Facebook video, just muck about on guitar, do like an Ask Me Anything. But that was the only thing that we could really do at the time. It was too risky going outside. And like I said, some of us were unemployed, some of us didn't have any money. If we'd have been caught, we would have been like screwed. Those were the only things that were really working at the time. I feel like a lot more people were jumping in live streams and paying attention because there was nothing else to do. And it was a weird time for everybody, so a lot of bands and a lot of fans stuck together like glue as well.
I'll come back to gigs in a wee second there, but I forgot to ask you, River. It's easy for guys like Hayden just to pick up his guitar and practice and create riffs and stuff like that. How did you keep your vocals in check? I don't know whether you sing in the shower or you sing in the car or something like that.
Well, I taught myself acoustic guitar. I was just singing a lot of like Britpop stuff. I'd go over the lakes and stuff and scream sometimes as well, but I didn't do much, but I didn't lose much. I was mainly singing, so.
No, I just wondered if you've been given an ASBO or anything like that by the neighbours or anything.
Yeah.
That's why I moved out.
No, good stuff. But talking of the gigs then, before we look at our future plans then, so what gigs, I think the world's again opened up, about 6 months ago now, so have you had a good handful of gigs to promote Apocalypse and Murmur and all the rest of it, a chance to play your EP that you haven't had a chance to play in a couple of years? Yeah,
we've done a couple of Brum shows. We've been to Manchester, Derby. We've got out a little bit. We want to do more, but it's more waiting for the EP to come out so we can put it together as a tour.
Yeah. Now, just remember, there's this tiny country called Scotland. But the thing that I would recommend is, if you do have the time and the money, of course, with the blinking petrol prices at the moment, you've got Glasgow and or Edinburgh, but you've also got a scene in Dundee. You've got Aberdeen as well. Places like Aberdeen and Inverness are screaming out for metal gigs because they don't go up there. And they're always guaranteed to get a good crowd up there, you know.
So we got offered one in Inverness, but he could only pay us like 80 quid or something. So I was like, nah, man.
Yeah,
you'll be lucky if that gets us one way.
yeah, it's difficult, but we want to gig here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah.
But so you never know. Scotland could be on the radar soon once the EP is released. It's just sorting everything out first. But
to be fair,
what was that? Sorry,
I'm thinking about Patreon.
Right, Patreon. Yeah, I mean, also like there's good guys that I can get you in touch with. Craig Law of Goddamn Promotions. You've got Hamilton Hunter as well. You've got Ivory Blacks. Ivory Blacks is actually where we're having the festival. So, and the three venues are like 200 yards away from each other. So, and it's right in Glasgow. So if you do want to come up here, just get in touch and I'll get in touch with the guys.
Sounds sick.
Good people. Right, that's brilliant. Thanks very much for that, guys. So you talked about gigs that you've done recently then. One thing that I have noticed is, like in Glasgow, for example, I can only talk about Glasgow. Because we've been screaming for gigs, that Glasgow can sometimes be a wee bit fickle, or certainly pre-COVID, it was fickle. So you might be playing to 30, 50 people. But see, since COVID, it's been very, very well attended. Certainly the crowd levels have gone up. So what plans do you have in the future once the EP's launched? Do you have any gigs in the pipeline? Have you got any more local gigs to play? What have you got planned?
Yeah,
We've got a few coming up in
so I can write these down.
Yeah, we just want to get the EP out so we can do like a whole UK tour. To be honest, we want to bring it anywhere we can, but we need the EP to tour it first.
Yeah.
Once the EP's out, no holds barred. We want to gig and tour everywhere. I told the guys I want to see other places in the country. Yeah, not just play locally. We're playing locally at the moment just to keep the gigging flow going. But once we got more opportunities in other places, you'll see us all over the place, hopefully.
So you got a couple more local gigs coming up. When and where are they? Put you on the spot, see if anybody knows.
We've got 30th of June at Scruffy Murphy's in Birmingham. And I think we've got a few up north in November, but we've not taken any bookings recently. So we're dying out for it. If there's any promoters listening, we'd love to come play in your city.
So when you say up north, are you meaning like Manchester and Newcastle?
No, it was Rotherham.
Rotherham, St Anne's, and somewhere else. I can't remember.
Yeah,
that'd be 3 days with Infirma Purpose, I think.
So what you want to do? Do you think once the EP's launched, then you want to do a headlining UK tour, or you want to join a bigger UK band on their tour?
World domination.
I think bigger band, to be honest, at the moment while we're still growing. We could headline around the Midlands. It's all right, but I don't know what our reach is going to be like, our pool's going to be like. So we'd like to jump on with a bigger band.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry.
Yeah, just to expand on what River just said, that it's we never set out to say, right, we're only going to headline shows. For us, a gig's a gig. If somebody wants us to open up for whoever,
yeah,
I'm down for it. The others are down for it.
Yeah,
you know, it's getting your name out there at the end of the day. So honestly, I'm not really fussed where we are in the lineup or where it is. I just want a gig.
Yeah, a band that I've interviewed, I can't remember where they're from though, and they're kind of not too dissimilar to yourselves. I mean, they don't have the orchestration, I don't think. Phantom State.
Oh, we know Phantom State. They're from Birmingham.
I know them really well, yeah. I grew up with them.
So maybe something like to join up with them and just take over the world. I mean, is there hopes or plans to like maybe get on 1 or 2 festival dates?
Yeah, it's been a while since like festivals. It's been a while since I played at any festivals. I'm trying to remember the last one. It wasn't.
Was it Download, mate?
It wasn't Download. I've played festivals since then.
He probably played with himself since then, but
yeah, that was it. I didn't play at Download. I played with myself at Download up in line this whole time.
It was all over the internet. Don't worry about it.
I don't think I've done a festival with Nebula State yet.
No, we did festival. Were you there though?
I'm trying to remember.
Oldham.
Yes, Oldham. Oldham was technically a festival. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
You're just like any other band. You would accept any gig, anytime, anywhere, as long as your petrol's covered. You'll just play. Exactly,
you've nailed it. You know, a gig's a gig. I just want to get out there. I want to be seeing different places, meeting different people.
Yeah.
And also, depending on what happens, maybe the parking fine or traffic violation, you get, an extra 30 quid is quite nice, especially after Nottingham.
He's a happy man, isn't he? He's happy, isn't he? He brings good vibes.
Yeah, just don't show up early. That's it. Wait for the cameras to turn off and then show up.
Will's parking advice.
So now that you can get together as a band, then where do you rehearse? Where do you record, and especially where you rehearse, and how often are you getting together? Once a week, or like if you've got a gig coming up, do you meet up 2 or 3 times?
Yeah, we rehearse at Rabana's in Birmingham. Brilliant studio.
Do you share that with other bands? Do you share the room with other bands, or is this something that you've got yourselves?
It's public, so other bands we share with other bands. We used to practice in different places. We tried places all over Birmingham. When I joined, they were practicing in Tamworth because that's where the band's from originally.
No, it's Burntwood, not Tamworth.
What was that?
It was Burntwood, not Tamworth.
Oh, close enough.
I'm not going to argue because I don't know where both places are, so I'll just leave these to it.
Neither do I, to be fair.
Cool. So I pretty much got the last 2 questions then. So listen, I thank you very much for your time here. I know it's a Friday night and you should be out there socialising. But
what's that?
Before the internet, then, magazines and fanzines were the places to find out about new bands and trends, but now publications have been replaced with thousands of websites catering for all genres. So do you think that some of the passion's been lost, or do you think that the internet's been a good thing for music and a good thing for Nebula State? So I would like everybody's opinion. So who wants to go first? Well, River nodded his head, so he'll go first then.
So, I really wish it was the 80s. I'd go around sticking flyers on lampposts, man, like Motley Crue. But the internet's a blessing.
Why
and a
can you still
curse,
not do
kid.
that? Why can you still not do that?
That's an excellent point, mate. Yeah, I think it's great because you can reach so many people online, but it's, I don't know, I want the physical graft, man.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, it's a different thing. But it's brilliant with things like TikTok and stuff. It can really blow bands up, but I feel it's a bit plastic, so we don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm somewhat agreeing with River. I do wish it was back in the day and you kind of had to graft for everything and you kind of get like this cult following because of people seeing certain stickers on like a bathroom wall while they're taking a piss in the local club venue. People try to replicate that around here, and it just every time I've had a whiz in like the local club, I'm like, I know that band, they split up last year. I know those guys. It doesn't work as well, but at the same time, yeah, the internet's been fantastic for us, in my opinion, because when I got into music, I never imagined that a single would be hitting places like Brazil, for example. When Murmur dropped, there was a bunch of bloody Brazilians spamming our stuff all over the place. And if I'm not mistaken, that's where the reaction vids have come from, Brazilians spamming comment sections and messaging YouTube saying, check these guys out. Checked our statistics. There was even somebody in Peru listening to Murmur. Bloody Peru.
Russia, Philippines, everywhere.
If you'd have told me that prior to this that people from Peru and Russia would be listening to our music, I would have said you're drunk.
You would have laughed. You would have laughed.
But yeah, but I do wish I could see what it was like prior to the internet, because I've never. I was born in '94, so I've never known any different.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I do. But at the same time, I wouldn't want to be posting stuff on TikTok either, because that's. I don't see it. I see it as plastic, but I see it as kind of being a bit of a sellout as well. I would want my music to be heard for it being a song, not a meme because somebody danced to it and slipped over.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the guy who fell. The guy who fell over. Oh, that's the slip over song, Murmur by Nebula State. I wouldn't want that.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Listen, thanks very much, River and Hayden, but this is the one that I want to hear. William, what do you have to say about this?
I'm like 50-50 on it, because I think like what River said, it was about like the internet. It's a blessing and a curse. It's like it's so handy to be able to find stuff. Like you see someone and think, oh, that bloke looks familiar. I can't remember what they're from, but you remember one film, and then you can just search it, and then you've got all of it at your fingertips and any piece of information and stuff. Or I've got another one in my head. It was when I was listening to something years and years ago. And then in the recommended, it recommended Texas Hippie Coalition, and then I ended up buying a few of their albums, discovering a new band, and then it's great for discovering new things. But then again, it's just such a pain in the ass because you've got to be kind of doing it all the time. I think it was Mike Shinoda the other day who said, like, how are people supposed to focus on their music if they've got to spend so much time doing social media stuff? If you got 24 hours in a day and you sleep for 8 of them, and you got to put in about 2 or 3 of looking after yourself, you got, I'm going to say 19 hours left. I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention to what I was saying with the numbers, but then, well, or like 13 hours left or whatever, and then you spend most of the time planning something to release to make sure people still watch you, and then you only end up with about 2 hours to work on your music, and then you might just be defeated at the end of it. I know when I've gone to work and I've came home and I've chilled out with the family, then I put them to bed, and I thought, okay, I've got me time now, and I've just thought, I'm just going to play PlayStation instead. It's just kind of, I think that's kind of a curse of the online stuff, because you just kind of get into that mind. But then again, I've seen kind of viral marketing in the past of physical stuff. I remember when I was in Liverpool about 10 years ago, there was stuff graffitied and spray painted on the floor footsteps that were on the floor, graffitied on, and then it led to a sign on the floor and it's posted for something. I didn't really pay attention to what it was, but it was cool. You know, but it's because it's that type of thing as well. Our mentality now is you need to be able to grab people's attention, otherwise you're just going to lose it. And it's kind of, you need something.
You need to hit them over the head with a sledgehammer, don't you?
Yeah, and it's just quite difficult to find that niche to do it, or you need to just grab it, and it does end up being quite tricky to do.
Sorry, Hayden, on you go.
I was going to say one thing I really want to add. The best part about the internet for me is being accessible to our musical idols. Like when I was in school, I never imagined I'd be working with Jimmy Strimmel from Dead by April. That's like a dream of mine. We've got some of our favorite musicians who we're mates with on Facebook. Some want a collab soon. You know, I've got most of the members of Dead by April on Facebook. A Skylit Drive. I've even a few years back, Matt Heafy from Trivium, who's like my main inspiration, actually listened to one of my songs. Without the internet, that probably wouldn't have been possible.
Exactly.
Murmur probably wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for being able to have access to Jimmy as well. Do
you know something? It's so easy to reach out to your idols and contact them now. And do you know what? I've came across very, very, very few people that would ignore you. I mean, you would think, like, for example, my guitar idol is James Murphy, of like Obituary and Death, and his own band Disincarnate. I've reached out to him for an interview and he responded and all the rest of it. I was like, I've reached out to Dan Seagrave, who is the artist for many album covers. I had an hour and 20-minute conversation with that man. I've had an interview with Dan Swano, the producer. I talked to him for over 2 hours. The comedian, Steve Harris, Australian, he's a metalhead, all because of social media.
Someone said I used to look like him. That was quite nice. I knew he had hair, but I don't look like him anymore.
Oh, he shaved his hair off. But before I go on to my point, no, William, I have to ask, I noticed in your bookshelf there, you've got a couple of, these books for dummies. I'm just wondering if a couple of them are for drumming. Drumming for dummies.
I do have a few drum books around somewhere. What I've got down there is music theory and then Latin, because I wanted to learn Latin there was a reason I was doing it, but then there was a secondary reason, or that was my first reason, which is for Dungeons and Dragons, which is I wanted to incorporate Latin into that, so it would, I could learn something that's kind of slightly practical, rather than learn Elvish or something else. So I thought, Latin, that would make more sense. So
cool.
I can't tell you anything.
No, cool. Every day's a school day. I would love to learn another language, but it's definitely a double-edged sword. I mean, I'm obviously older than you guys, but there was nothing better than you would read an advert and you send a £1 note to a band, and then a couple of days later you would get a demo tape back and you would listen to it and you're like, I don't know if I like it. But because you've invested in it, you would listen to it again and again and then make up your mind. Now you can go onto streaming websites and listen to it 10 seconds. Oh, no, that's shit. And instantly dismiss the band because you know that there's a million other bands out there that'll play a similar style. So you definitely have to be unique. But then again, you guys have discovered bands in South America and things. I'm the same with my radio show. I've got Pakistan, I've got Belarus. It's unbelievable what you find out online, but that wouldn't have been possible 20 years ago. So it's definitely a double-edged sword. But I've got my cassettes in there. I've got my vinyl in there as well. I love the physical product. But even record labels, they do runs of 300 copies because they don't sell. People just download them now, which is a shame. But I always get, when I get a band, I contact the band and say, look, can you sign it for me? And I pay them whatever, if it's any extra, or whether we're just, probably 99 times out of 100, they do it willingly. Absolutely no problems at all.
Charge for an order, sign something.
Aye, well, absolutely. See, when your EP comes out, I'll definitely get it because I shouldn't like this. But I've listened to this 6 or 7 times today, and I've listened to it in the last couple of days. I shouldn't like it, but I do. But I like everything from Adamant right through to, I don't know, brutal death metal, you know, so it depends what kind of mood you're in. But metalcore, sometimes it's the vocals that does me in. But I love the mixture. I love the different levels of the vocal styles, the cleans, the screams to the growls. So keep on doing what you're doing, and you've definitely got another fan here.
Oh, thank you so much.
No, absolutely no worries at all. And I mean that, and I wouldn't just say that. But this is probably going to lead on to another 40-minute conversation, because I'm going to talk about the instruments that you used to record Murmur and what you're going to use to record the EP, The Invasion. So we'll start off with you, Hayden. What's your guitar of choice?
Well,
what's your setup?
I usually use Dean Razorbacks at gigs. I'm a huge Pantera fan, huge Trivium fan. I got into Pantera when I was...
What's the best Pantera album?
For me, it's Far Beyond Driven. That was the first track I heard.
You've got it wrong. The only one that can get you moving your ass to is Cowboys from Hell. I
mean, yeah. Pantera are one of those bands for me. It's a bit like Def, because I'm a huge Def fan. Def and Pantera are two of the only bands I know where they didn't really make any bad albums, in my opinion. They're all really fucking good. And I discovered Pantera when I was, I want to say 12. He died in 04, I think, or 06. Yeah. And it was one of those bands. I opened up Total Guitar. I had a subscription, and he was on the front cover, and I'd never seen that guitar shape ever. I went, what the hell is that? And then I listened to the track I'm Broke, and I was just like, what the hell have I missed? How have I not heard about them? And at the same time, Trivium got the Dean endorsement with the Razorbacks, and I thought, that's it, I need one. But for Murmur, I actually used an LTD 7-string model. I think it's called the M12 that I have.
River, is he just showing off using 7 strings? Yeah, I bet he doesn't even use the 7th string. He's just showing off.
He's just lying. He's got a Hello Kitty guitar.
Hey, you don't diss those Hello Kitty guitars. They're a collector's item now. I wanted one back in the day. But yeah, I use Razorbacks on stage usually. But for Murmur, I used that 7-string just because I think it was something to do with the tuning we were using. It was easier to do octaves on the 7-string as opposed to 6-string. I
was going to say, what made the difference in why 7 and not the 6? What did that extra string give you?
If you listen to the chorus, I'm playing octaves in the background. On the 7-string, I'm able to play the octave normally. Live, when I use a 6-string, I have to reach to my pinky finger and play it differently. Okay. Yeah, but that was just the main reason. And I figured using the 7-string would beef up the song a little bit because we use drop pedals. And that was in the lowest tuning we've used so far. I'm not quite sure what tuning it was.
You know, that was the very next question. What's your tuning?
Well,
you're just not going to give your secret away, are you?
Take Us to Your Leader, the original EP, was entirely in drop C. But with the Invasion, all the songs are in different tunings. Apocalypse is in drop A. Murmur, I don't even know what tuning that is. You'll have to ask Ethan. But the songs are in different tunings. That wasn't ever intentional. It more came from Ethan mucking about and coming up with different songs. And we thought, well, we've got drop pedals. I don't need to carry 5 guitars with me to a show. Yeah. So why not? We can do it. So
if you do a 10-date UK tour, then how many guitars are you going to take with you?
Oh, I'll take 2 then, just in case something happens.
Break a string, panic.
Yeah. I only ever did that once when I was 16. That was when I didn't know what I was doing. I thought, oh, they're just a tiny bit rusty. It'll be fine.
So what about pedals and amps?
We don't use amps live. We use Pod HDX 500 pedals. Ethan did recently, but he's moved on to using different means of playing live. I'm not quite sure the specs, but I'm still using my Pod. I find it a lot more convenient than carrying heads and cabs because I don't drive and I use a lot of heavy guitars. They weigh a ton, which is probably why I've got back problems now. But I just find it a lot more convenient. Certain promoters, certain bands just look at you and think, what the hell is that? What, you're just plugging into the DA? But it's been a lot more convenient. We wouldn't have been able to gig as much or tour as much if it wasn't for it. So...
Do you have a bad back because you're fed up carrying the rest of the guys on your back? Is that what it is? You're fed up carrying the band?
You read my mind, mate.
I think he was talking to me there, that's it.
No. They've all got their strong points, but we all have weak points as well, don't we?
Exactly. Thanks very much for that, Hayden. But River, with you being the vocalist then, have you went through like a series of microphones before you're happy with the sound of the microphone, or you just give me an SM58 and I'll just fucking sing into it?
Yeah, honestly, I just use some kind of Sennheiser that Will gave me now. I don't know too much about gear. I just turn up and growl. So.
Yeah.
And
So you don't have any pedals or anything like that? You just microphone sound?
No, not yet. I'm gonna fuck about and get a couple of distortion pedals and stuff, and we're gonna bring auto tune into the mix some point for the clean vocals to see how we can experiment with that. But that's all gonna be a work in progress.
Say the clean vocals for everybody are exceptional.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks. You know, I worked hard.
But do you know something? I like that in death metal as well. I mean, there's a Swedish band called Miseration, and they've got the clean vocals and then death growls, and then it's the clean vocals. And see, when it's done right, it's superb, and that's what you guys do. So keep on doing that. Keep on mixing it up like that. Good.
Oh, cheers, mate.
But so sorry, River. So you're thinking of getting a couple of pedals, yeah?
Yeah, just some distortions, whatever else.
Yeah.
I'll mess around and find something, but I don't know what they are. So
yeah, or how much they cost. That's the main thing. Yeah. Well, listen, guys, thanks very much for this. And sorry, Will. I forgot about the drummer there, as most bands do.
Oh, yeah. Don't worry about it.
I'm only kidding, Will. So what's your setup then? What have you used for the recording?
For the recording, I've got it here with me actually. I've got the mouse, and then I've got the keyboard. And then if you look, I've got this button here with the C. So you copy that one there, and then press the V to paste it. Yeah, that's how we did.
Something, guys. I've never said this in a live interview, but I would get rid of them. I would.
We're trying.
If he's telling you that a computer can do it, then there's no need for them.
I mean, I've said that before, you know, like it's like, what's the difference between a drummer and a drum machine? You only have to punch the information in the drum machine once, you know.
In Will's defense, though, he can play the song live perfectly. I did see a lot of drummers in the past in different aspects who always would program drums, but then when it came to actually playing it, like, oh shit, I've overcomplicated it. But Will can do both of them, so
Will's just a beast.
So what's your live setup then, Will?
Live, I would love the full-on world's biggest drum kit, you know, the classic Dave Lombardo setup.
Yeah, but in your world.
Yeah, but I don't think anyone, any stage or sound engineer would be happy to have that type of setup. So,
or for Hayden to carry it bloody in for you.
Oh yeah, don't worry about that. They always disappear as soon as that happens.
Oh yeah.
It's like, well, you just have this. Yeah, I'll be back in a minute, and then it's like
River's like, I'm the vocalist. I've got to mingle with the crowd.
He's going to carry his vape pen in that way.
Yeah. So live. So if I'm taking me stuff, I'll take my Gretsch Catalina drum kit, which is the big 24-inch bass drum. For the live setup, I've just got the 2 rack toms and the floor tom, but it can get bigger. So I've got the 3 rack toms and the 3 floor toms as you do. Got a wide selection of snare drums. The 3 Tama Metal Works, which are different sizes. The D drum Travis Smith snare drum, which I have been told by other bands don't wear a white hood on stage while wearing that one because of the flag that's on there. I've got the Vinnie Paul Pearl snare drum. I've got a Premier 2000 snare drum, which is from 1974. Maybe I
didn't realise you were that old. But Hayden raised a point earlier then, like, see how he's tuning the guitar to a different level with different songs. Are you changing the snare sound with the different songs to compensate?
It's because the idea with all the snare drums was for different recording things. So like kind of so I've got different songs. There's I remember when I listened to, I think it was one of the Deftones album, you can hear a quite clear difference in all the snare drums on every single song. It's like it could just be mixed slightly differently each time, but it's also kind of, did you not just use another snare on everyone?
Yeah.
You know, kind of. So it's kind of, because you might just have a sweet spot in the snare drum and be like, this is the one that I'm going to use, and then if you change it, you should just never get it right. So if you get another one, I'm not saying get another snare drum, you know, that type of thing. It's just, it's nice to have a different body of work. So I've got the metal snare drums, which are the 13x6 Tama Metal Work, which is the same as the Joe Jordanson signature snare, but it's Tama version. And I've recorded everything with that one. And then at the moment, I've got the 14x6.5 Travis Smith snare, which is just big and loud wooden thing, which is quite beautiful.
you know, it's Hayden, he's more technical than you. Who would have
He
thought a
is.
fucking drummer would be that technical?
He is. Then again, I don't really memorize names of things. I'm just like, I stomp on the pedal and I strum the stringy thing.
And
I
then you
sometimes
walk off the stage and he
Yeah,
can
and then
deal with it.
sometimes I just go, there, that's it. That's all I need to know. But yeah, also Ethan for Murmur and live, he uses a Blue Jackson Dinky model. I think it is. I did my research beforehand. I'm pretty sure it's a Dinky model. Yeah, Ethan's usually quite tame with specifics on guitars and stuff. If he likes it and it sounds fantastic, he'll use it. He's used Ibanez's. Like I said, he's using the Jackson at the moment. It's that's what he uses mainly as well.
Cool. Who's got the most pedals out of you two?
Oh, good question. I'm going to say me because I'm not really a pedal collector or anything like that, but then neither's Ethan. I think the only pedals he uses are the drop pedal and the pods, like me, but I also have spare tuners. I've got a noise suppressor. But I don't use them, but I own them. I've also got, I did have a sponsorship years ago with a pedal company. I can't remember the name of them. They gave me a free wall.
That's why you don't have a sponsorship with them anymore.
pretty much. I just fell off the radar. But yeah, I've got that as well. So yeah, naturally, I have more pedals than him, but not out of desire or anything like that.
No, absolutely brilliant, guys. But Hayden, don't you wish you were that geeky and be like the other guys so you can talk about everything about your microphones and stuff like that? You're just a plain simple guy. Give me an SM58 and I'll just grill into it.
Oh yeah,
I've always more if you like.
Yeah, I've always been like that though. Since I got into the music scene, I just said, right, I'm a performer. I'm just going to play guitar. I'm just going to do my thing and walk off. So I never really focused on specs or details or anything.
Yeah.
But,
well, believe it or not, you've talked about that much about your instruments. My 10-minute warning has come up again. So,
we like stretching the borders.
That's it. But listen, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I mean, this will obviously go out in Moshville Times. I'll be out in my page, Ricky of Moshville Times as well. I've just branched out myself, and I'm doing interviews myself. I do the radio as well. So your song and any future songs that you want played on the radio, just send them to me. We'll play them on the radio. If you're coming up with Scotland, then get in touch. I'll get you in touch with a couple of people. So yeah, this won't be the last time we talk. I can guarantee you that. So keep in touch, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having us. It's been fantastic.
Absolutely no problems at all.